What up? Don't mind my hair, you guys. I'm getting it trimmed tomorrow. So right, right, little goober head. Um, little buddy. My little buddy. Yes, you are. You just got some bacon strips, didn't you? Yeah. Yeah. He says that's why we're nice and quiet. Says that's why we're nice and quiet. Oh my God. You even let me pet your ear a little bit. Oh my gosh. You must be trusting me. It's only taken like a year. So it'll be a year in October since I've had this guy. Anyway, um, it was kind of dark this morning. I was trying to read the Farmer's Almanac when I woke up at 6 a.m. Um, but it is National Aviation Day today. And here it says, a quote from Amelia Earhart, who was alive between the years 1897 and 1937. She says, the most effective way to do it is to do it. Right? Okay. So, I mean, I don't know how else you can say that, right? Like you need some motivation. Well, you just gotta get up and do it, right? Sometimes that is the way, right? But also, part of this message today is about no longer being somebody's scapegoat. Okay, I was getting some downloads about about some stuff, and it's like, oh, when it finally clicks, when it's like, I don't know what this person had against me. I'm racking my brain, thinking, what did I say? What did I do? Oh, turns out I didn't say or do nothing. It was somebody else who did it and they thought I had done it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And it's like, wow, but I've never been the type to go after somebody's boyfriend for revenge. I've never been the type to put something in somebody's food for revenge. I mean, I don't even know where people get some of these ideas. You know what I mean? So to me, once I realized that I was being blamed for some of these things, and I'm like, well, that's interesting, but wouldn't me. Uh so some of those folks I think need to take a long hard look in the mirror. And it was actually my mother told me this story recently, because we were around some family and stuff, and she, one of her brothers, she said that they would, because they were close in age, so they would play together a lot, and obviously when you're a kid you get in trouble, right? So, of course, they had to get punished. And she said one time in particular, her brother took her punishment for her. Now, I don't know the circumstances, like, was it his idea, blah, blah, blah. But I guess this became a little bit of a pattern where he did this a few more times. And then her other brothers this brother know, they were like, so you need to stop that. You're being stupid. So let this be a message to you, whoever you are out there. Don't be stupid. Don't take other people's punishments, especially if you were not involved. Now, am I saying you need to go out there and defend yourself against every accusation ever and this and that? No. But if people are treating you weird and you just don't know why, you're going to have to chalk it up to that is their problem that they haven't figured out yet, and it doesn't have anything to do with you. They needed a scapegoat, they needed somebody to blame, and you were convenient, right? Maybe you're the person that lives out of state. Maybe you don't live in town. Maybe you don't, visit so and so like they do all the time. So then it's like, oh, well, let's blame them because they're not around, right? So anyway, that's the message today. Don't be the scapegoat. There will always be somebody trying to make you the scapegoat, right? You know, uh whatever. That's their effing problem. That's their effing problem. Blood, friends, coworkers, you name it. And I'm talking about people that should know better. I'm talking about people that should have known better a long friggin' time ago. So, yeah, anyway. Do you have time for those people in your life? Think about it. If that's the level that they thought of you and wanted to place on you, right? Um, Obviously they're not at your level. So, when they say everyone deserves respect and all this stuff and don't disrespect people, well, you can keep your distance and not disrespect somebody. In fact, by keeping your distance from them, you are respecting them because what they actually deserve is maybe a smack in the face or a smack on the butt, getting that punishment that they put on somebody else years and years ago. You understand what I'm saying? This isn't necessarily a pleasant message for me to deliver either, because in the ways that this has happened to me, these are people that I loved, I cared about, and now I have very little feeling towards them at all. And it's a shame because it could have been different, but they chose differently. So now I have to choose differently. So, you know what I mean? That's just the way it is. So, anyway, let's get into some cards here. But that's the gist of today's message if you don't have time to stick around for the cards. Anyway. And collective, sometimes it's one of those things when you remove yourself from the situation, they start to see. They start to see it's like, oh, the collective isn't around. That scapegoat isn't around this time, are they? When things are going haywire. I wonder why. I wonder why. Because the collective doesn't engage in that behavior. But some people are so willing to keep their eyes closed to the truth, right? Again, and they are very willing to put it on you for some reason. Maybe it's because you're of the opposite gender. Maybe it's because you're not, technically their blood, right? You know what I mean? So they think like, oh, well, and we've heard stories like that, right? Where, like the adopted kid gets treated different than the, natural born children and stuff like that. And it's like, what is going on? Right? You know, it's like, that's not the kind of energy you want to be around in life, period. So let me be the first one to say, if you are not in contact with some of these people, you may have chosen the right path, because if they're trying to lower you, right? Um, when really they need to be addressing the issue and trying to lift that person up. You know what I mean? Instead of just, it's like they dispersed. It's like they, it's like, okay, it's like, right, when the teacher walks in the room, right, and the whole classroom's like, right, and the teacher's like, sit the rest of the day, right, but really it was maybe only a couple people, but the whole room gets punished. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that feeling, like what did I do? What did I do? Please tell me, because I'm listening. See, this tower is not going the way that they thought it would. They thought you were going to keep taking that beating. Like, oh, there just must be something wrong with me. No. Guess what? There's nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with them and their minds. It's sick. It's a sickness. It's a sickness. So they think you're going to come around and play patty cake every time. That ain't the case. That ain't the case. And I could kind of tell that when I was visiting and I was talking to one of my relatives and I kind of cut it short and they kind of looked at me like, oh, I guess they're done talking to me. But, you know, I mean, yeah, I saw this person and, I was visiting with them, but there's been many other family events that they could have shown up at that I was at. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not going to spend all my time on that one person that just, that day decided to bless us with their presence. You know what I mean? It's like, they are the ones who did that pushed you out of their heart a long time ago for whatever reason. For whatever reason. Again, that's between them and their therapist. It has nothing to do with you. Has nothing to do with you. And that's the problem, collective, is then, this will take up our headspace and we'll be sitting here racking our brains like, gee, did I do something to this person? Why did they stop talking to me? Why won't they text me back? They got rid of me on social media. I tried leaving them voicemails. They still wouldn't answer me. It's because in their mind, they just had this, this blockage towards you. And it's like, well, maybe you're not as close to that family member as you thought you were, right? Maybe you and that bestie you have, right? I've had that happen before. I thought this person and me would be going to lunch till we were in our 80s. And one day they said something to me. They were like, I prefer close relationship. Like I would like there was something where it's like I wasn't doing something right in the relationship, and they basically said that they were choosing another best friend like over me, when it's like I was in this person's wedding. I supported them when they were crying their friggin' eyes out at the bar because no dude was talking to them. Do you know what I mean? The whole shebang, holding the fucking hair back when they're puking. Shit. Type shit, right? But hey, man, you want to go over there and get all dolled up with Mary Kay? You can do that. I ain't stopping you. I ain't stopping you. But don't come over here and scapegoat me like I'm the one that caused the problem. It's like I supported you dating, I supported you getting married, I supported you having kids, I supported, you know what I mean? It's like I support all those dreams. And then they turn around and they're like, yeah, you're not really a close friend. It's like, really? Well, I don't know what you think a close friend is, chickadee. But maybe your sister was right when she told me one day. She's like, she kind of has a problem keeping friends. Now I know why. Her sister said that to me a long time ago. And I thought, oh, you know how sisters are. You know what I mean? Just little jealous stuff. Well, I learned my lesson, didn't I? I mean, you find out when people stop calling you, or the way they talk to you, what they actually think of you. And it's like, oh, okay. I guess you're just too cool. Right. So you go on and be cool. But you can be cool without me. Ain't gonna happen. Not gonna be your scapegoat. I'm not. Right? Because they want to be like, oh, well, you're the single friend that goes out and blah blah. It's like, honey, last time I checked, you were in the hotel room hooking up with so and so when we were at somebody's bachelorette party, the same as me. So don't come over here and play innocent, right? See, that's what they'll try and do too. But oh, well, you ran around when you were younger. Yeah, like everybody else. Please. Please. I'm no stranger to having hooked up with somebody in my 20s or in my college years. Like, good grief. That's kind of part of, exploring, your sexual health and things like that, and kind of knowing what you might want in a partner and things of that nature. You kind of get to know that pretty quick. And then you get to know pretty quick whether or not, right, you want to even talk to that person because once you start doing the thing, right, then it's like, yeah, this weird relationship going on, right? Some people never figure that out because they just get married right away. And they're like, oh, well, we're married. Yeah, but then they'll go and screw somebody else at some swingers club, right? And it's like, I don't consider that being settled down. I don't consider that being settled down. No. No, I don't. And I also don't screw my friends' boyfriends either because I think that's nasty. I don't do that. You know what I mean? Have I dated the same person that somebody else dated? Yeah, that has that happened. But do I go out of my way to be like, "Oh yeah, I want to get with this person because they were with so and so?" No, that's gross. Like, have some pride, have some dignity. You know what I mean? But people will put that on you because, oh, you're not married, therefore you must be the one doing that. When they're the ones that have the ring on their finger that are going around consensually cheating on their partner with all sorts of people. But come over here and blame the collective. Really? Really? The stories are running out of gas, right? Right? And they still want to be mad at you for something that happened 20, 25, 30 years ago that you didn't even have a part of. It's all part of this narrative. It's all part of this narrative that they're trying to sell. And it's just gross. It's gross energy is what it is. It's gross. Sorry if you're a gross person out there, you need to change. And that's the thing too, is like everyone has the ability to change. Everyone has the ability to wake up and say, I'm going to choose better for myself today. Such as me today. I'm like, wow, I guess I don't need to worry about cultivating those relationships. I already put in my time and it wasn't good enough for them. So, maybe it is a good thing that I don't live nearby, right? Maybe it is a good thing that I don't visit too often so we don't have to get into it, like for real. We don't have to go into the hair pulling and mud wrestling and mud slinging portion, do we? Who's gonna win that? Who's gonna win that? Oh no, mommy and daddy don't get to help you. Oh no. No, it's just mano y mano. That's right. Some of y'all don't want to play that game, do you? No, exactly. So get right with God. Because God has calling on the scapegoats and said, enough is enough. Enough is enough. We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. Right? We're not gonna take it anymore. Right? Okay? Twisted sister. And it's one thing, like if you happen to go out with somebody and then you get be friends with somebody else and then you happen to, well, be like, oh, we dated the same person. You're like, are you gonna get mad now? You know what I mean? I'm talking about people that go into this with their eyes fully open, knowing. And it's like, well, what did you think was gonna happen? Some people don't care about crossing those lines. Some people don't care about crossing those boundaries. In fact, they do it like for fun. They do it for fun. Those are the people you need to stay away from. Those are the people you need to stay away from. Far, far away from. Can't make it up. Justice card. So, yeah, your justice is here. Your time of being a scapegoat is OVER. Okay? Dunzo. Dunzo. You could be getting jacked too. I mean, you look at her stomach here. Look at her stomach. She's like, I met this gal once. She drove a rig, uh, like RV rig, and I don't know if you've ever driven one because I have one. It takes a lot of muscle. And she was telling me, she was like, hit me right here. But she was trying to tell me how solid her stomach was and how strong because of driving this rig. You know what I mean? Kind of like this Justice card, how she's jacked, you know? So it's like, I think what she was kind of trying to tell me, because, she's of a certain age and, you know what I mean? Did you see the, like, necessarily the definition outline? No, but it's still there. So again, if you have been scapegoated, trust that you have the energy. You have the fight in you to fight back against what has been wronged against you, right? Especially when they try and come at you 20 years later, 30 years later, and then they'll be saying that same story, and you're like, go on. I want to hear you talk so that you trip up. Please keep explaining yourself. Ain't so fun when the rabbit's got the gun, huh? What was I just talking about the other day? People that are obsessed with the devil. Well, that's what happens when they get so obsessed with it that they think, what I mean? It's like they think they can outsmart everybody. They think that they are like that, and it's like, it ain't cute. It's not cute. There's nothing cute about it. There's nothing loving about it. Yeah. Ace of Swords. You're telling the truth, collective. Again, with the Justice card here, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. So the truth is, somebody tried to make you the scapegoat. And unfortunately for them, right, the truth is coming out. What was the article I read the other day? And I had to drop a comment because somebody was out there saying, oh, well, it's the professors at these universities that are driving the cocaine and blah, blah, at these frat houses, these multi-million-dollar organizations. If you know anything about fraternities and sororities, you know how much money is involved. And somebody on this comment is trying to comment and be like, oh, well, the professor, they're the ones that, it's like, do you expect me to believe that? It's like somebody's lying. Somebody's lying. And I have to say, the fraternities that were named, I was not surprised. I was not surprised. I bet there's a whole lot of other people that were not surprised, right? So, that commenter was trying to scapegoat like a professor or something, right? To take the fall for, a multi-state a national operation. It's, at one university, but let's be real. I mean, this is a whole network. This is a whole network. You just watch. You just watch. They'll be over in this state over here, and they'll be over in this state over here, and then that state over there, and it'll be like little dominoes. It'll be like little dominoes. Criminals always think they can outsmart the law. Always. And the thing is, sometimes they're enabled to do so. These people wouldn't have gotten so far, right, without the support of those organizations and the money that goes into those organizations. They said the pledges were the ones packaging the cocaine. And one of the people hadn't even been there for a few years. So it's like, okay, well, then how many years has this been going on? You're going to tell me only the people that lived in the house knew about that? Wrong. Some of the people that were arrested no longer live in the house. They're no longer even going to school. Now you can try and scapegoat the customers, right? Well, there's not a demand for it. These young boys wouldn't be doing this stuff. Maybe the young boys were peer pressured into some really bad decisions, and they made really bad decisions. Um, you know, And when you're young, I mean, that's kind of a thing. It's like, who's going to get the booze? Who's going to get the cigarettes, right? For some people, it's who's going to get the powder, right? So they think that can attract people into their parties, right? This ain't rocket science. And you got people that can afford to be in sororities and fraternities. Well, that requires money. Some people don't know what to do with their money, right? Well, they found out. They found out. Just watch. This is not just isolated to Pennsylvania. This will be happening. This will be nationwide before long. Nationwide. And what's crazy is I can't believe that the Sigma Chi chapter uh didn't even get suspended because they operate off campus. So it's like the university's not even like disciplining them at all. So this just shows you the enabling culture. And I mean, let's think about it. It's Penn State who that guy, all those scandals that have already happened there. So they have a cover up culture, right? Again, this scapegoating thing. Oh, it's not my child. Oh, it's not our fraternity. Oh, I've never even been to a party. I mean, all this bullshit. It's just bullshit, right? And they want to look at you and say, "Oh, well, it was them. It was them." No, it wasn't. Like they weren't even there. But let me tell you, when I went to school, the two that got busted, like I said, I am not surprised because they had some big parties. Cleaning cups. Collective, I feel like you're secure with your creativity. You are secure with taking care of yourself here. I mean, your creativity could be cooking, homemaking, things of that nature, quilting, sewing, crocheting, whatever it is, right? Hmm. Six of Swords. Yeah, collective. Like I said, okay. You're making room in your heart for things that are more pleasant. Okay, things that aren't tearing you down, things that aren't bringing you down. You're cutting out that negative energy. Okay. And like I said, with mommy and daddy not there to help. I mean, but were all these like these frat bros, or these people that want to scapegoat you, were they actually raised to do that? You know what I mean? Because like knowing their parents, some of these parents are probably embarrassed of their actions. I'm sure my parents weren't always pleased with my actions, because we all make mistakes, right? Um, but it's like, is this a mean spirited thing, or are we harming ourselves here? You know what I mean? It's like there's definitely a distinction, right? What's that movie? Anywhere But Here, and gosh, what is her name? Very famous, Stalker Channing. Her character in that movie, she said, "We're alcoholics. We prefer to just harm ourselves," kind of thing. Is because they came after her, accusing her and her live-in husband, common law husband, of trying to kidnap a baby or something. And she was like, we do not do that. She was like, we're recovering alcoholics. The only people we are interested in harming are ourselves, right? Now, some people could say, well, under the guise of alcohol, people have harmed other people. Yes, they have. But like I said, under the guise, okay? People will blame anything on, oh, I was drunk. Oh, I was stoned. Oh, I was under the influence of this. And it's like, well, I know a lot of people that have been under the influence of a lot of things. That doesn't mean that they went out trying to harm somebody. I mean, some of y'all have never met stoners. People don't get stoned and go on murdering sprees. They get stoned and they sit and they watch crime killer documentaries for the next 3 hours, right? And make a frozen pizza in the oven and hope they don't forget to turn the oven off. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, let's think about this just for a minute. Let's just put on our little logical thinking caps for like 1 minute. All right. And she has this like little smile on her face too. And see, this is the thing. It's like, I feel like collective at one time people were pulling on your heartstrings. They were trying to, get your sympathy plea and all this kind of stuff. And you're like, no, it's not going to work anymore. Right? Because they see a Queen of Cups and they think, oh, well, Queen of Cups will understand and Queen of Cups will have pity on me. And it's like, Queen of Cups is over here drinking her tea, curled up, and she's getting ready to go to bed, lights out. Like, it's done. Have you guys been following that one trial? You know the one recent one. Anyway, two of wands. Yeah. I didn't realize that the husband already got remarried. Does It's not a good look. It's not a good look. Not trying to scapegoat the husband, but it's like, was the wife the only one responsible here? Or his ex-wife? Is she the only one responsible here? Or he has something a little bit more to do with it than he's all right? It's like when you step out, right, and get the context of the situation, right, it always makes sense. It always makes sense, right? But see, people want to sit there and say, oh, well, they did this one little thing this one time. Again, we all make mistakes, but is it a pattern of behavior? How does the pattern go? And, afterwards, are they sorry or are they like, well, I don't care? Some of them only care that they got caught. Ten of Pentacles. Some of them might be upset they got caught because they see you're doing fine. We're like, wait a second. I thought they were the scapegoat. Like, I thought I had everybody believing that they were the ones responsible. And, oh, oh, you did, huh? Well, hmm. Guess what? That's not how your wishes work. You don't get to wish ill will on other people who aren't doing ill will. Surprise. My senior dog over there, she's been staying in the same spot today. She hasn't moved too much today. Last night she was moving quite a bit. 5 of Cups. Yeah, they thought you were going to be all like sad and lonely. They thought you were going to be like in on these like pranks with them, if you want to call it a prank. If this is the type of person that says, "Oh, it was just a joke," and you're like, "It wasn't that. No, it wasn't funny." Like, what do you don't understand? That's not funny. That's not funny to try and do to somebody. It's gross. It's gross. Because, the golden rule, do unto others. Yeah, collective, you are resting. You have a mind that is at peace. You have a body that is at rest. You might be active, but you're at rest within yourself because you are whole within yourself. And you know that just because somebody else wanted you to take the blame, right? Um, that was not going to be your destiny. You changed it. And part of that was because you didn't need these people's approval, right? You realized that real quick. You're like, well, because I can jump through all these hoops, right? And play the good part, but they still want to see you as bad. Again, that's something wrong with them. That's a them problem. That is something mentally wrong with them. You can pray for them. You can wish them healing from afar, right? You don't have to wish revenge. You don't have to wish whatever. Okay. But you also don't need to go over there and kiss their butt and kiss their tail and act like they're the greatest things in a sliced bread. You know, it is what it is. The most effective way to do it is to do it. They done did it. You didn't. You're in the clear. You are in the clear. I don't know how much clearer I can say in the clear, but ding dong, ring a dang dang, clear. Clear as a bell. There's a reason why them readers do that. They ring that bell. That's part of clearing energy. That's to let you know. That's to signal you on a frequency. Okay. That so that you understand that you're protected, okay, by something that's higher than the expectations that these people had for you, and dare I say better, right? We don't like to say, oh well, this is better than that, but in this instance it is, because you're at peace. Continuing on. What's that Meatloaf song? I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. Right? You know what I mean? It's like for a lot of people, we have limits, right? It's like, yeah, I love you, but I'm not going to do that. All right. I think I'm gonna make myself some stuffed peppers for lunch. I picked some peppers. I don't know if it's a peck of peppers, but I did pick some peppers from my garden. And I have some bacon in the refrigerator, so I just happened to see a recipe for like air fryer, poppers. So I think that's what I'm gonna do today for lunch. Even though I do have some leftovers in the fridge, but all right. I just have some computer work to do. I thought it was gonna be rainy today, and it's like it's not, and so it's like, that's kind of like yesterday. I just was not motivated to mow the grass, but I got it done. You know what I mean? The effective way to do it is to do it. Like once I started, it's like it's practically already done, you know? So yeah. Judgment collective, this person, because you had a miscarriage of justice, they could be currently under judgment for that. All right. The judgment is going to be carried out whether you want it to or not. It might be one of those things, where you're like, look, I hate to see anybody going through that, blah, blah, blah. But let me tell you, they did not care when it was you. They did not care. Again, they were happy to make you the scapegoat. They did not care. So just remember, now is your time. Now is your time to take care of you. Right? They'd be okay with you taking care of them. You got to put that energy into yourself now. Take care of you. Wackadoodles, let me tell you. Two of Pentacles. Yeah, I don't feel like you have time to be distracted by this collective. So again, you could be like, well, what do I have to do to receive this justice? What do I have to do to receive? You just keep doing what you're doing and it will come. All right. The thing is here with this Two of Pentacles, they have a bow and arrow and they're aiming. So, just because somebody else is jumping up and down saying, oh, now I'm drowning, help me, help me, help me. And you're like, wait a second, why didn't you're telling me this now? It's kind of like that. You're telling me this now? Has anyone ever learned the person they're dating is a felon, a year into the relationship? Like, you're telling me this now? Can you be a social acquaintance of a felon? Sure, probably. Do you want to have them living in your house? Maybe not. Depends. Probably depends on the felon. He's a fella, all right, but he fell on some hard times, right? Oh, he just down bad. He just fell on some hard. Well, he fell into a felony. Not everybody falls into a felony, do they? Because some people know how to tell the truth. They know how to take accountability. And I'm not talking about when somebody's 10 years old. I'm talking about when they're 30 years old, when they're 35 years old, when they're 40 years old. Ace of Pentacles. Wow. Look at that. See your persistence? It's paying off. Look at that. Part of the reason she's got her nice little suit on, right? Okay. Drinking her tea. Not pressed because, she's already doing the thing. She's already creating the abundance. I mean, I got family members that won't even be bothered to say hello to me. But have I been to their events? I been to their weddings? Have I been to their blah blah blah? Have I got them the fucking gift on their goddamn registry? You bet I did. But hey, man, it just wasn't good enough for them, I guess. Right? Consider that your parting gift. Right? You never have to see me again. You don't have to ever talk to me again. And I will act like you don't exist. Right? Like, it is a two-way street, isn't it, collective? All right. Sometimes we run into people in the world and when we think to ourselves, how do you not have any family? Well, if you observe the way some of these families act, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why. Leo, strength card. So again, in the heart chakra, that's, again, Leos, you are, you know what I mean? You're like, I'm going to put this out there and I hope they catch it. Right? Whereas other people are putting out weird stuff. And it's like, huh? Like Leo doesn't get that. Leo doesn't get that. Leo's not down with that. Leo's like, I'm having a good time. I want everybody to have a good time. Look, I know life is hard. Let's have a party. Let's have fun. Right? What actual fun is, not what they think is fun, but real fun. Mm-hmm. And I've had that happen too before. I'm, just trying to talk to somebody and they'll interrupt you and they'll start saying something else. And I'm like, no, that's not even what I'm talking about. They just had it set in their mind because it was you, because it was you. Make no mistake, because it was you. That person had it set in their mind. Oh, they must be thinking something devious. They must be thinking something wrong. I have to be the one to correct them. It's like, wow, I guess this is just a one person conversation then from here on out. You got your mind made up. Again, that's that scapegoat energy, looking for somebody to blame. And you're there. It's like, I'm sorry, what did I do to you exactly? Don't look at my face then if it offends you so much. Anywho, world card. Yeah. So with this Two of Wands collective and this world card, you could be kind of discussing your options, especially if you're discovering that like you do not fit in a certain place anymore, especially if you're stepping away from being the scapegoat, right? Because you might be like, well, if I'm going to be the scapegoat in the situation, then I don't need to go to that family reunion. I don't need to go to that Christmas gathering. I don't need to, send the birthday card to so and so, right? If that's what they think, right? So, I'm not saying be in a rush, and I'm not necessarily advocating cutting off family members. I think it's a horrible thing. But sometimes it is necessary, again, for your own peace of mind. So this is kind of just that confirmation. that if you separated yourself, you did the right thing for your peace of mind. All right. And what you're doing is you're opening yourself up to new opportunities and better. Again, better. You're opening yourself up to better. Because let me tell you, none of these people are without judgment. They have all done things, and a lot of them have done things that they will never tell you about, right? They'll never admit to it, but they can sit there and judge you, right? Another Four of Swords with your Ten of Pentacles, you're like, yeah, I got my money in the bank. I ain't worried about their dramas. I'm taking a nap. Somebody be like, oh, well, I didn't see you out at 8 a.m., blah, blah. Well, you know what? My shift's a little different than yours. Were you working at 11 p.m. like I was last night? Oh, you weren't? Oh, okay. You know, there's the way things are, and then there's the way things that you can make it to be, right? Because you don't have to accept that status quo. I'm not saying that you have to be some huge rule breaker. I'm just saying, right? The people who were receiving your graciousness and when they don't return that to you, it's time. It's time to think about it. Don't be stupid. Don't take the punishment. Don't do that to yourself, racking your brain thinking, what did I do? What did I do? Like, gosh. It's like I said, that all that'll do is drive you up the wall. And when we're in reality, that person, those people, that situation, they're the ones that need to sort their crap out. Right? Those fraternities that got busted, they obviously need to sort their crap out. Right? Blaming a professor here or there or something like this. I mean, that it's like, what? You expect people to buy that? Just like this case where this mother that's on trial and her ex-husband's already remarried. It's like, well, I'm just gonna guess things weren't exactly as rosy, right, as they appeared, right? So what did happen? What did happen? Because some of her family members got on the stand. They even said that she was having, crazy thoughts and stuff, but they didn't do anything to stop her. They didn't say, oh, well, let us take the kids for a while, or maybe you need a break, or, none of that happened. To my knowledge, they were just like, we thought she was okay. It's like, you don't just go from being okay to not being okay. So it's like something happened in there that somebody ain't saying. Right? Again, keep pulling back out, and then it's like, starting to make sense. Starting to make sense. Six of Cups, old Jenny Green Teeth. Yeah. So there could be somebody trying to get back in your good graces, right? Especially if they see you got those 10 of Pentacles, especially if they see that you can take a load off and sit here and watch your favorite program on Netflix or whatever streaming service you prefer, right? Personally, I have a YouTube Premium subscription because I like the movies that are available on there. So I get like a free Prime version. Get some programs and stuff like that. Five of Wands. Well, I don't know that I have really ever drawn this card on this deck. This is very interesting, this Five of Wands. If I did, it's been a long time ago. Excuse me. So again, it's like there's this underlying energy of wanting to get you involved because guess what? You were their scapegoat. You got that ringer on silent. You have blocked their number, right? Just as they did you on social media and all the other things, right? You're like, oh, no, I cannot be reached at this time. It's like that Ferris Bueller, right? I'm sorry. I can't come to the phone right now. I can't come to the door right now. You see, I'm very ill. He's like, I mean, I'm laughing, but part of it is because it's like, why is that principal trying to come to his house? That's kind of creepy, right? Then we found out about him. Then we found out about him. I'm just saying, sometimes these movies and stuff you watch, and it's like, it tells you about some of these people. Yeah, yeah. Trying to think of the name, Heart to Heart. Anytime I watch an episode of Heart to Heart, which was on Stephanie Powers was played the female lead, which her name's spelled differently than mine. But the male lead, Robert Wagner, I mean, I observe him acting in this show, and I think, hmm, I wonder if he's that good of an actor off screen. Because, he was involved in some things where people didn't come back alive. And it's like, maybe he acted his way out of that responsibility. I don't know. That's just me. Because I mean, I watch these old episodes of some of these TV shows, and and then you sit there because then you learn about these people later, about their lives and stuff, and you think, and you say, well, you know, maybe there's a reason why they were playing the bad guy, right? Maybe there was a reason why they were, cast as this because maybe somebody wanted to catch them on camera. Hollywood, la 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 la, Hollywood. Da, 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 da. Yeah. Just like the most recent Hollywood case of an untimely death, and they're finding out more and more as the day goes on, right? And I think they will continue to probably because at that age it just doesn't usually make sense. But when you put all the pieces together, you keep stepping back, it's like, oh, well, there's the means, there's the opportunity, there's the motive. I mean, money's always a motive. We all know that. Speaking of felonies, that guy had two felonies on his record, I guess. And just before that person's death, a judge decided to not reduce those felony charges that he had been convicted of. Could that have been a motive for murder? Oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist, am I? Or am I somebody that looks at the logic of the situation? Right? Well, looks like I better go check the delivery schedule because if it's not my house, it's the neighbors. So, anyway, yes, I know. You're such a good boy, aren't you? Oh my, yes. Now the cards are going fine. Now the cards are going fine. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, you're a good boy. You're a good boy. He says, yes, I am. Yes, you're a good girl too. I didn't forget about you. I didn't forget about you. My little buddies. My little buddies. What would I do without you, huh? Right? Right? For the longest time, I did not have a dog because I worked really, really long hours, and I did not want to kennel the animal all day long or be away from that. I just didn't think it was fair to the animal. And like one of my neighbors had a dog, and I mean, he would be gone all day. And I mean, that dog, it didn't seem very happy. You know what I mean? I thought, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. So anyway, but now that well, when I started working from home during COVID, when everybody was, right, then I was like, well, maybe this is the time. You know what I mean? And then I thought, well, then when I return to the office, I'll have to work something out. But I ended up never returning to the office. So, you have that. Hmm. Yes. Hmm. And now I have a second dog. So anyway, find joy where you can get it. Forgive as well, because like the Leo thing, the big heartedness, it's not that it's not a failure to love people. um but sometimes that expectation does fail, and we get to forgive ourselves, we get to forgive other people as well, so that you know we can try and have some semblance of how to move forward, okay? That doesn't carry all that animosity, and part of that, again, collective, is that you're going to be getting this justice, and the judgment has come down. People understand that you're innocent. um you know in that situation, not saying that you've never done nothing in your entire life. Oh my god, when they were in fifth grade they used to pick their nails, oh my god, right, okay, oh well, right. Did you make anyone else eat it? No. Okay, then you're good. Do you know what I'm saying? Some people have no remorse on stuff like that. They think it's funny. They think it's funny. They think it's some kind of a game. And, I'm with that comedian who's like, bring back the cigarette smoke. Because these kids out here that get these weapons and stuff and think it's a game, it's not a game. It's not a game. So, anyway, I wish everyone a safe school season. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. Maybe encourage your students to take up smoking. I mean, not really, but all these people that are like, oh, you can't smoke. Yeah, but what else are they doing instead? It's way worse than hooking up, you know? And these days with some of these medications that they have, even if you touch it, it can cause you to be poisoned. So the fact that they're cracking down on these frat bros and stuff, you know, we'll see where it lands, because there's been a lot of deaths in communities because of um these drugs, medications, whatever, getting in to people's systems that shouldn't be having them, you know and don't tell me some of it's not intentional, right? um because of jealousy, pettiness, things of that nature, where people will be like, oh well, my life turned out like this, therefore I'll do that to you type thing, and it's like, some people actually think like that. You don't want to be one of those people. Not only that, you don't want to be around them either. Okay? So, from me to you, take a tip, okay? All right. Please do remember to like the video, especially if you were in the chat today. Remember, you do not have to be a subscriber in order to like the video, but you can become one today, and it is the 100% free way to support the channel. Okay. Also, if you are a subscriber, then that entitles you to use the notification option where you can be notified of any time that I am going live or drop a new video on this channel. Please do go to the About Me tab for any other additional information or questions you might have about this channel, or if you are looking for one of my other YouTube channels, right? Because I have a few. I have a few. I like to do multiple things. What about you? Okay. So, don't get typecast like these Hollywood, like some of these Hollywood actors do, right? They're like, oh yeah, he'd make a good bad guy. How do you know? You know what I mean? Don't get stuck in doing that. I mean, even like in the heyday of like the soap operas and stuff, some of these soap opera actors would talk about how they would be out in public and people would start yelling things at them, believing that they were the characters, and there are people out there that cannot distinguish the fantasy from the reality. Okay. And again, that's part of this scapegoating thing. It's like, oh, well, it's just pretend that you're the one responsible, and you're just like, well, I don't want to pretend that. They're like, but that's what we wrote for you. And you're like, right. Some actors get criticized because they didn't want to be play that part. They didn't want to play that role. They turned it down. They say that wasn't a good role for me. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, they're rejecting roles. They don't want to work in Hollywood. Well, maybe they just didn't want to be saying those things on camera. Maybe they did not believe in doing that. That is their right as a human being, to not play the part, to not be the scapegoat that somebody else wanted them to be. Okay. So anyway, so I heard another truck, but it's off in the distance. You heard it too, didn't you? I saw your little ears perk up. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, until next time, please do manifest wisely, everyone. Bye bye.